Welcome to the Impromptu Press Play podcast, where we talk about and play video games. It's just Ryan today. Garrett's missing. Don't know what happened to him. I think he's dead. You may see him on the back of some milk cartons here in the near future. So this is just kind of an impromptu little rant on video games as they are right now. I've been hearing a lot of hate on some games lately, and I don't know. I just thought I'd put my opinions out there on it. So, in my opinion, lately, the video game industry has been stagnant. We have all these, cookie cutter FPSs, Call of Duty 27, Black Ops, zombie astronauts, and these and some games are out there, breaking the mold. We have too many first person, FPS cookie cutters and crazy open world sandbox games. And don't get me wrong, I play my fair share of those. I mean, just yesterday I spent 12 hours, almost 12 hours, it felt like, playing Oblivion, which is, huge open world RPG. But, after a while, when every game's doing this, it becomes so daunting. I've been playing yooka-laylee, which is the game I'll hopefully be having play in the background of this. I decided to go a little differently. Instead of just talking while I play the game, I'll just put the game up in the background and then dub my quote-unquote podcast over the top of that without any, video game sound, just visual and to catch your eye and hopefully draw you to listen or watch. But, it's game after game of, first person shooter, crazy open world sandbox. And I don't know, as much as I love those games, it gets so tiring after a while. It's just like I say it, on multiple different podcasts, you keep beating the dead horse until it stops spitting out money. Like the who from what episode joke that we do. But then you have these retro style games that kind of break the mold there, retro spiritual successors. Like Yooka-Laylee is a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie and the Conker game, and Super Mario 64. And then you also have, your, retro remasters of Crash Bandicoot, which is coming out this June. And me personally, I love this because I've been getting tired of this stagnation in video games of just repeating the same, Call of Duty Black Ops 3. What's different from that from Call of Duty Black Ops 2? It's the exact same gameplay, no innovation, no nothing to me, and I'm getting tired of it. I'm sure I'm not the only one. And then you have, your games that make all these promises to break the mold, then, fail miserably like No Man's Sky did. That's a whole other podcast on its own. And it's agitating because don't get me, I'm still going to go out and spend all my money on these. But we need more games that break the mold, try new things. But that being said, once they try something new and it's successful, then they just start repeating the process, repeating the formula, different faces, same game, like Far Cry 3. That game, I'm sure many of you game enthusiasts have played it. It was a revelation for the time. Skyrim with guns, as everyone called it, and it was it's both the type of molds I was talking about. It's a first-person shooter game in an open sandbox world, and it did it well. I mean, we had our, Fallout 3, but this one was a lot more fast-paced, a lot more hardcore, with a surprisingly interesting story with characters you actually kind of care about. Like, you don't care about them in the beginning. You don't have to, but they pull you in with their story, with their twists, with their enemies, and then, you're hooked. You pumped 72 hours into the game already. You're getting ready to wrap it up. And then, they see that success, that popularity, those 10 out of 10, game ratings that they're getting. And then, you get your Far Cry 4, which, all in all, is an okay game because it's Far Cry 3 with different people in a different place. Plays the exact same, maybe a few weapon change-outs. It's the same game. It's fun, don't get me wrong. I mean, I played it in that soundless press play live stream Garrett and I did. But the story leaves me wanting. I mean, I didn't care about the characters at all. You come in and you're supposed to spread your mother's ashes. It was her last wish to have her ashes spread over her, her homeland. It's a very, beautiful sentiment, but that's all you're really given. Like Far Cry 3, you're kidnapped, you're about to be ransomed, you escape. Now you have to spend the whole game trying to survive and rescue your friends. You're this normal guy who has to become a killer to save his friends and family. And Far Cry 4, like in Far Cry 3, you hear your character develop over time, coming from this wimpy college kid to this grizzly badass who's out there hunting, sharks and grizzly bears and stuff with a bow and there's character development. And with Far Cry 4, your main protagonist, I can't even remember his name, Ajay Mohan, I think it was. They just slap a gun in his hand and, all right, go kill people. There's no character development there. There's no reason for me to actually care about him at all. And not care about his story, or because there's none. But then you also have and another case of this is Dark Souls. I mean, I never really got that into the Dark Souls franchise. But again, it's one of those things that both sides of the argument, it broke the mold of these super easy hack and slash games and gave you this difficult, hard, but enjoyable experience with a, gripping environment and gripping environment and such. But then they're like, wow, that was such a great success. Let's do it again and again and again. But that being said, they broke their own mold when they decided to switch things up and do Bloodborne, which is a completely different setting with different gameplay elements. Dark Souls being this medieval fantasy world with dragons and, minotaurs and whatever. And then Bloodborne being a gothic Victorian England kind of vibe. When are we going to get that next revolutionary game? I can't even think of it. Nothing comes to mind in the making right now that comes off as revolutionary or a game changer. When are we going to get that? I'm tired of playing the same games over and over with a different skin. It's I can't really even put it into words. Like, because I don't know what I want. I just know that I want something different. And with like these retro and remastered games coming out, I find those incredibly enjoyable because it's different than, I mean, it's something I've done before, of course. Maybe, it's part sentimentality of me playing a game that reminds me of, being a 8, 9, 10-year-old kid playing on his Super Nintendo and PlayStation 1. But I'm fine. Like, Yooka-Laylee, I have a lot of fun playing it. I mean, I don't put any, crazy amount of hours into it because it's not only, an adventure game, but there's platforming elements, puzzle elements, and all that from what you would expect from a game like that. I just don't really know where I'm going with this at all. Like I said, this is this is an impromptu little recording, something short and hopefully enjoyable to go up on the channel for this weekend. Like, I don't know. There are games I'm really looking forward to being released, like the new God of War, the new Spider-Man game, this Crash Bandicoot coming out just this June. I'm really looking forward to that. Love the Crash Bandicoot series. Right now, I feel like the saving grace of the gaming industry is these remasters and spiritual successors, because they're doing something old but new at the same time. I mean, we've had 15, 20 years since those games were in their heyday, and even Yooka-Laylee makes fun of it in a lot of aspects, making fun of the retro game formula. And I don't know, there's something I'm enjoying personally. Like, I find myself going back and playing a lot of the older games, like Oblivion. I just bought that on Steam the other day. Even though, a lot of people say, Skyrim is the more superior Elder Scrolls game, I personally, I like both a lot, but I enjoy, as a whole, Oblivion more because there's how should I say it? It's more whimsical. You have your acrobatic skill and whatnot that makes you jump 20 feet in the air when you start getting good at it. Yeah, so gosh, I am not filling up a lot of time on this thing. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Hopefully you like this setup. Like, if excuse me, just burped. If you like this setup, like the video, comment and stuff, and I can do more stuff like this. Just my thoughts on video games and whatnot. I can review games. I can do whatever. I hope you're not playing that drinking game. There's a lot of games coming out that I'm really looking forward to playing. Like Prey that just came out. It's kind of reminds me a lot of BioShock, like the first BioShock game, which I really, really enjoyed. I didn't enjoy the second one so much. I barely played any of it. It just was not nearly as enjoyable for me. Um, gosh, I kind of skimmed through most of what I wanted to talk about already. So I'm hoping personally to see more of these 3D collectathon action platforming games like Yooka-laylee and the Banjo-Kazooie-esque games come back into their own as a genre, because I have a lot of fun playing those. Not too long ago, I went back and bought the Sly Cooper collection for my PlayStation, and I played the crap out of those. I went through 100% collecting everything, the Jack and Daxter games. I want to see all these. I want to see this style of game come back with a little bit more. It's the 21st century, and we have all these modern advances in video games. Bring them back with some flair. A little extra pizzazz, a little more. Gosh, I don't even know. Like, there's so much that they can do with video games, but instead they're doing the same, crappy first-person shooter game over and over. Do something different. Like, I like first-person shooter games, don't get me wrong, but I want something new, something different. Like when I play another Far Cry example, I really enjoyed Far Cry Primal, but I just felt like I was playing Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4 without guns, and it got boring after a while. There wasn't anything too crazy, fun, and exciting about it that really blew my mind and made me want to pump, a week into it. And I don't know, most of the games I've been really, truly enjoying lately are, rehashes of games I used to play. The Yooka-Laylees and the Yooka-Laylee and Yakuza 0. I mean, they're making a remake of Yakuza 1, and I loved that game when I was younger. I mean, it's another open world game, but this story, what really drew me in. Playing a character from the Japanese underground, fighting your way up to the top and trying to get your life back after going to prison or whatever. I just don't know what to think about games anymore, the game industry anymore, other than it feels stagnant right now. It's just still water. And very few games are doing anything different. And so many other games are just copying other games. Like the new Resident Evil, is much as nice as it is to see Resident Evil going back to its horror roots. It's just doing a lot of similar stuff to other horror games currently out. I mean, thank goodness it's not just one of those survival horrors where all you can do is run and hide. I hate those. Maybe it's partly because I just don't want to feel that powerless. I don't know. This isn't a therapy session. I just like to feel like I'm actually participating in what's happening in the game. So hopefully, we don't get any more. I just don't want to be let down by the industry anymore. Of course, I'm gonna keep shelling out the money for all these games because it's one of my passions in life is to play video games. I love them. I've loved them ever since I was a kid. But lately, I haven't been putting as much time or money into it because nothing is new. It's the same thing in a different skin. Oh, the new Call of Duty came out. It's going to be the same thing as the last one. Just now you have super jumps and you're in outer space. Whoop-de-doo. I liked it much better back when it was just, World War II guys killing zombies. Because that was different. At the time, that was different. You had to earn your money and buy your weapons, and you competed with your friends. And now, 6 Call of Duties later, we're still doing the same thing. And it was really fun those first 1 or 2 times. But now it's just the same thing over and over and over and over. Kind of like me repeating these same topics over and over and over. And I'm just hoping that, someone out there in the game industry actually someday comes upon this and be like, wow, he's right. Maybe we should try something new. We're a multi-billion-dollar company. Maybe we could step our toe out of this, cookie cutter mold that we've found ourselves stuck in for the past 20 years. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I'm trying to get my point across. There's so many things that they could do with games now. I mean, we have all these awesome VR games those are probably going to change a lot. I mean, hopefully someday we actually get the VR that we really, imagine, being able to move around and interact with everything. I mean, I know that's coming. It's a long ways off, but it's going to get there eventually. I want something new. I keep coming back to that. I just want something new. And there's been so many disappointments in video games lately for me. No Man's Sky. Oh God. I mean, if you read into a lot of it, part of their reason they're a good port. I'm trying to be as non-biased as I can about it, because I was really let down with that game. It was like a crappy version of every other survival game out there right now, with just a lot of annoying little things in it. But I'm not going to get into it. Never mind. Scratch that. I mean, remember that I said it was a letdown, but another letdown of a game for me. As much fun as I have playing it, still, it's not quite what I imagined, was For Honor. I got kind of bored of that game kind of quickly. I don't really know why. It wasn't quite what I expected, is all. I don't know. This is one of the reasons I don't look up video game trailers, and I try to avoid reading about video games that are coming out as much as possible, other than the fact that they come out, on whatever date. And same reason I avoid, movie trailers and all that stuff is because I don't want to set a unrealistic standard for myself. 6 years ago when they announced No Man's Sky and put the concept out there, I've had my ear, I didn't focus too much on it. But you hear about something that you're really interested in, you kind of keep your ear to the ground a little bit, research here and there, take a peek online about when it's coming out, what kind of updates have been posted about it. And you're like, oh man, these concepts sound so cool. Oh, look at this artwork. Oh wow, look at this screenshot. And then it was released and nothing. It was such a huge letdown. As I said, I'd stop talking about that. I'm trying. So luckily there's a few games that haven't quite killed the money horse yet. Infamous, no, not Infamous, Injustice, Gods Among Us 2 just came out. They haven't quite killed that formula yet. I mean, the fighting game formula is very up and down for me, but the superhero fighting game formula I still totally dig. And then another superhero fighting game that's coming out is the Marvel vs. Capcom 4. I think it's 4. That looks like it'll be pretty all right. I mean, I was never super into, like, I like them, but I never really bought them because I was never really that into fighting games because I suck at them. So I never really buy fighting games all that much, other than, like, one here or there when I see them and I have the money. Gosh, I don't know what else I can really say about all of this. Let me know, all right, I think I'm going to call it here. It's very short, but I'm just going to call it here. This is mostly just a filler episode to get us till our next podcast has been recorded. Just kind of something I kind of threw together because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And I mean, you know me, I'm not very good at articulating my words. I mean, I can use a $5 word, don't get me wrong, but like articulate. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you like this new video game podcast formula where I, record a game and, dub the podcast over the top of it. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, and tell Garrett if you see him, we miss him. Please get in touch. All right. See you later. Bye. That's a terrible outro. Also, give me outro ideas down in the comments. That'd be great. All right. Thanks. Bye. Bye. Bye.